Hello, I'm Ren, and I work at UX is Fine on implementation. And today I'm working in Unreal Engine doing Game Jam. So we're going to make a liminal space game. I've never done one before, and I'm interested to see what Unreal can do for us there. And so let's jump over to take a look at this. So this is a itch.io game jam. You can see there's a lot of games jams that happen, and there's some big ones coming up that I would also like to take part in. But today we have a chance to do just a short, maybe 1 to 2 day, might be just today, might be also tomorrow, depending on how we do. And the theme is red dot. And so I had an idea about a ladybug that sort of does a little bit of what Peak was doing recently, where there's a stamina bar and you've got to sort of like maintain your stamina through various means, and then also, not have your bar fill with other status effects that ends up making you lose, and then sort of like flying instead of climbing. But I kept fixating over this idea of this security camera hallway, and the security cameras slowly increase. There's like some sort of like red dot reference there with the recording live button, streaming. Lately I've been doing a lot of streaming, so I think this idea just sort of stuck with me and just kept fixating on it. And so we're going to do some fun stuff towards the end of the setup of the game, where we end up in a hallway just absolutely filled with these cameras, and we'll use some cool techniques to achieve that. Lighting wise, that might be a bit of a struggle, but mesh wise it'll be fairly simple. We'll use Niagara GPU particles to try and get all these cameras staring at you at the same time. But to start off as a game, it's searching through some setting, some office-based setting, and looking for your desk, which I guess you don't know is the goal, but that's going to be revealed towards the end. So that's the gaff. I didn't get a chance to sign into Miro. We've got some music up here. I'm going to just throw that to my other screen quickly. Let's have a look here. So I'm just going to close down a few bits. Would like to listen to drum and bass, but I feel like this music is probably more fitting. Okay, and then so the MiniGim. Never been part of one of these before. There are 4 days to submission, so I might do some polish over the weekend if it's behind, but we'll see where we get to in the videos. This week's theme is red dot. Somewhere in your game, in the story, the gameplay, the visuals, the interface, there must be a red dot. It could be anything: a character, an enemy weak point, a mysterious signal, a button, a sun, or a symbol. Something completely abstract. And I'm going for something a little bit abstract. Okay, so you must make your game just for this jam, no old projects, that's fine. We're going to start it from scratch today. Only work on your game during the jam time, sure. The theme has to be in your game somehow. We can do AI coding, so that's cool. But we can't do AI for visuals. I find this funny, personally. The idea that we're allowed to scrape working code and build games if we're an artist, but if we're a programmer, we're not allowed to scrape art. Okay, so game engine doesn't matter, use whatever you like. You can use pre-made visual assets, which I'm going to do, and it's not hateful or offensive, so we're good. And then there's some judging criteria, but we're not here to get judged. We're here to have a relaxed jam experience in a horrifying office-based setting where we're going to do our live streams at some desk that you get to at the end. So a little bit of a reflection on what I've been up to lately, starting a streaming adventure. So cool. That's the jam. I am signed up to it. Follow me on itch.io if you want to actually play the game. So it'll be on Loki gamedev eventually. Okay, so it turns out let's just turn my microphone up a little bit. Turns out that my internet isn't working very well. Click. Oh, there we go. So we've got a couple of things on here already, stuff that we've made on stream before. Nothing major. But let's get going. We should. Apparently, my mic is just blowing out, so I'll actually turn it down a little bit. And some people were complaining that my music was too loud, so I turned that down. Though I figure that the music is okay now. Okay, so we'll turn this off. We'll turn this off. We've got the security camera downloaded already. Let's jump into Fab. Fab.com. And so I've got a library. Oh, it's going to ask me to sign in again. Okay, bear with me. Yes, we're going to do it with Google. I've got to sign in with my Google account. This is already annoying. So I will switch the stream over to be right back because I actually have to do some passwords right now. And we're back. So actually it wasn't too much of an issue because you can use your passkey. So that's awesome. I've got a library of assets. And I've also got Unreal Engine. So let's jump over to... well, we don't know which engine version we're going to use because we don't know... we just don't know yet because we're going to have to find out which assets we can actually use. So, first things first, I need an office of some kind. I think I eyed this one earlier. So, the nice thing about this one is there's some cool material and texture, sort of like detail on this wall. We've got some sort of running lights concepts. Obviously, in a liminal space, we're going to get rid of so much of this stuff. But I do like this wall. This wall's pretty cool. We've got some air vent stuff. That's kind of cool. We're not going to use any of this. Very unlikely that we'll use any of that. We might do some bits where there's like art on some of the walls, in some of the hallways. One of the things I've just realized is one of the probably cool things about liminal space is non-Euclidean space, which is actually something that I researched into for my master's degree when I did surrealism. So it's a surprise that I haven't made a liminal space game since university, which was over like 12 years ago now. But going back to base, we're going back to our roots here. Yeah, so far this brick wall is the interesting one. I am worried about that. So here's cool. So this will remind you of that TV show that I forget the name of. We may need to interact with doors, which may or may not be an issue. Just because there's some UX around that can be tricky to code for physically opening the doors, right? Because it's going to be first person. But we'll try. We can't but try. We've got some cool lights up here as well. These are going to be interesting to play with. These sort of like fluorescent lights will be fun to play with. And then we do have some kind of desk stuff. I mean, there's definitely desks in this pack because we're gonna have a, yeah, there we go. There was something right there. So we're gonna have this. Again, I can't remember the TV show. It came out recently. It was really good. But we're gonna have that desk at the end and in its own room on its own, and that's kind of the end of the game. So we might actually allude to that desk at the beginning through some sort of camera cut, because we may want to let the player know what their goal is, or maybe we just want the player to enter the space, walk through the space, and be worried about big red lights and avoid them, and then eventually end up running through this place until they reach this room. And we'll get some TikTok sounds in there. TikTok as in a clock, not the application. So this is the one we're going to use, and I actually need to know what version it's in. But yeah, we've got a lot of cool lighting options there, so it should be fun. It is not opened, so let's go find it manually. Big Office. This was actually free 1 month on the Epic Games Store. So this works in 5.6. I want to use 5.6 because it has had significant performance improvements. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold. So yeah, it's had significant performance improvements, so I've heard, and it's definitely got Lumen. We'll do some hardware ray tracing. It's not going to work on everyone's machine, but it works on my machine. So, and when you're looking at making a liminal space game, you want it to feel quite graphically realistic. Okay, so we've got that one. That's 5.6. Let's go back to the library. We're going to look for characters because I want something in the world to chase you eventually. I want to have some AI in the scene. We do also have this PSX shader that I got recently that could be fun to use, but that would be more for like a retro Silent Hill Resident Evil thing, so we'll play with that another time. So we've got 3D characters and creatures. I feel like I've got a camera head character. I feel like I do own a camera head character. And if I don't, we might just fake it somehow. But we'll just take a browse. I mean, we could use one of these. It would be quite, you'd color shift it to something clinical feeling. And it's like this future vibe of like, this is your boss over the network, and he's just like flying at you, chasing you down the hallway. And you could have some of those like Oblivion movie sounds with the. I mean, it's also Transformers, but so that's an option. I'm going to take a look over on my other monitor, see if that service drive is 5.6 compatible, which it is. So we could use that. That could be quite cool. It would definitely start some questions, right? You'd be like, what's going on here? A little bit of a misclick there. Okay, so this was a stream that we did the other day. Let's move on from that. And we've got Game Jam today, so let's get rid of all that stuff. Game Jam. Cool. Let's grab this, the image. One things I've noticed about Fab is it doesn't link very nicely. So I just need to print screen the name because, I mean, I don't need to print screen the name. I can just write the name. This is service train. Keep our designs in check. We've got service train possibly. That could be quite cool. We had big office. Of course, that didn't work because we're on characters, and now we're only on 3D. And of course, the office environment isn't 3D. The fab search is not great. I'll say that. So I think the most liminal vibe I got from here was this image. So we'll take this image. Look, this one's nice. It's got the name in the image, so we don't need to put the name in again, but we're going to do it for consistency anyway. Oh, so we've got two ideas going. If we go, maybe I have to go back a few pages. All right. I mean, if I type in robot, what have we got? Because I was thinking maybe there's a robot that's chasing you. Maybe mech. Maybe there's a mech that's chasing you. I mean, I definitely have a robot character. 100% I have a robot character. I should really organize my library somehow. So it looks like we're just going to have to scroll it. There for this red dot as well, I was I was looking at this image and I was like, oh yeah, that's a really cool effect for a game based on red dot as a theme. I was also thinking of this and doing like a Metal Gear Solid game, shooting out cameras and stuff. I was looking at this spaceship. Maybe there was like a red dot that represents your health that you could like zoom in on with the tab key and then look at like different stats, like the red dot hat like is the UI and there's like various things around it. That would actually be really good for the company I work for. So didn't do that one. What else? Yeah, there was a ladybird. I saw a ladybug in one of the images and I was like, that could be cool. So there's a little ladybug here. A game based on peak. So stamina for flying instead of climbing, but that's kind of cheap to just, I mean, I love the game and I'm inspired by the game, so maybe it's not that cheap, and I'd love to build projects in the same kind of way that they build them, which is short, fast, and effective. So I may have missed it, but I definitely have a robot in here. And kind of part of me wants to use the robot with a camera head. Important. The important distinction is that the robot has a camera head, and that has a particular visual cue. We've got another drone here, but that's a little bit too military, although there is a red dot on it, so it's a candidate. I've used it before and I wasn't much of a fan of messing with it, to be honest. It was a little bit difficult to use. But another thing I'm going to do with all these assets is start doing my own game jams where I just randomize and build something with whatever I get given. That'll be quite fun in the future. So we're looking through for a robot right now. We've got this android character that could be quite unsettling, and I think that's the key in a liminal game. Is we want something that's a little unsettling. We wouldn't want the face character. We definitely just want sort of the mannequin, but it doesn't really say anything. It doesn't have a meaning to the quote unquote art of the game. If anything, this would be my player character. And so when you look down at the ground, you see this kind of robotic form. It's like, or maybe if there's a mirror in the game, you're like, oh, I'm a robot. And yeah, it's a female character. Doesn't really matter for the story. It can be male or female. It can be an android, and therefore androgynous. So let's take a picture of this one, because I do want to have shadows on the ground for my character. So we'll go with that. It has a name for that asset, obviously. Female mannequin character. Sure. Would have been nice if it used the same style as the last style that I used. That'll do. Would also have been nice if it was all caps, but whatever. Okay. So we may now have our local character that we'll use as sort of like you look down and maybe you see that. True first person. This I'm kind of interested in, because if something was running at me down a corridor and it was doing that, I would turn the other way and book it, and that's kind of the goal of something in a liminal space again. So maybe I can copy this image. I can't copy the image. I will just copy this. This is potentially usable asset for this game jam. Gotta cut down on the assets now. Like, can't have too many things to implement because I've got like 12 hours. Interaction animations may very well be useful. Doors and such. Let's have a look at what's actually in this. Interaction animations. Okay. So we have picking things up, pointing ladders, and fence jumps. Searches, looks, declines, salutes, accepts. I don't know if we're going to be collecting anything in this game, but one of the things is that there is no door, like just a push or something. Although you could get away with it from the pickup table one. Dance looks kind of silly. There's a lever or a lever. I guess it depends where you come from. Never going to use the ground one. The shelf one may get used. And this is just to allude to, I don't know if we're going to pick anything up. It probably would be sensible to make it a game where there's some sort of searching for an item and you don't really know you're searching for it until you find it. But it's a key, right? Or a key card. Or you go to a door and you just get that Metal Gear. Da-da. Door does not open. Which suggests that you forgot all of your keys for your work day. But is what it is there. We'll take a picture of that one. We may We may need it. We've also got simple activations. And this may include doors. Let's have a look. These are twists, buttons, pulls, ropes. It's pretty cool. I don't expect to have the time to do anything good with that because well, you never know. You never know. It's kind of stretch ideas at this point. These in. Yeah, simple activations is nice. What I want to do is sort of like buy the hour mark, which in our case is going to be, because we started half an hour late, is we've got another half an hour to kind of ideate, plan out a little bit of what's going on with this project. We are going to need some unsettling music, but I'll use Epidemic Sound or Pond 5 or something for that. And so we'll do that towards the end of the jam. I have a data table function library. Do I really? It really doesn't have like the only function that's good, which is the ability to insert editor runtime. So that's a shame. Anyway. This is funny as well for a liminal space game. I guess like doing something that's like an actual, it just looks like a block out map. It's kind of got its own, I mean for me it's an unsettling vibe because it means unfinished game, or work in progress game. Keep looking, let's have a look. I'd love to do something with this paraglider at some point as well. That is on the list of things to do. But when or if is another question. Well, I suppose if isn't the question. I know I want to do it. I love this sci-fi gunship. I got this sci-fi gunship because I wanted to make a homage to G-Police from sort of PlayStation era. This Niagara UI, I need to play with that as well. I do want to pop open the crop house sample at some point. I'm sure there's some lessons in there. I'm still looking for the robot. Oh, you got the rover, yeah. I bought a rover and a bunch of planets at one point to make sort of a Death Stranding in a car game. I never got around to it. Like this is the one I would use for that game. Looking for a robot. Searching for a robot did not work, so we're just going to manually search through the library because I definitely have one. He's a cool one too. He looks like the one from that movie that I also forget the name of. But yeah, he's a little robot dude. Astro Animations would love to do a game with this guy. Actually, there, here, look, droids. There they are. They kind of got a camera for a head. They're kind of military. I didn't think about that. I'm going to keep looking because I feel like we're getting close to the end of the library. So, yeah, we got these guys. I bought a bunch of stuff to make a 4-player Tiki game at one point that I never did. Got a bow and arrow pack. I've got a project that I'm actually doing with that. Okay. Yeah, cool. And here's a nice astronaut that I was going to try and do something with as well. Okay, so we do have this guy. I could very simply, hey, Unreal Engine, we'll call you Gray. Hey, Gray. We're looking at creating a game jam today. It's going to be a sort of liminal office space where you're chased by some sort of like camera drone with a red dot for an eye. The theme of the jam is red dot. We're going to be using I actually didn't take a picture of the security camera. Security camera, CG Trader, free. We have a free asset that we're going to use. This one, a low poly camera. So I'll take a picture of that. I'll throw that onto our Figma. How are you doing today? How are you doing? Main thing is that there's going to be a lot of cameras in this game. There's going to be a lot of cameras. And potentially some characters. And I'm wondering whether I use this kind of... I really want to make a game with this guy because this guy just looks cool as heck. But yes, he's a military robot. Don't think it really fits the vibe. Even if it was like this white one. I mean, if it was that white one, it would be pretty cool. So imagine that just like walking around the corner of an office building and just being like, get back to work. Sit at your desk. Cameras. Cameras everywhere. He could have a red dot on his eye, obviously, as well. Just keep the motif going. I think all the buttons in the game are going to be red dots. Boop. And that'll open doors and stuff. Doors and stuff. I should probably turn my light on, I've realised. And we're back. And we're slightly more lit than before. It's actually a really overcast day over here. So, that's a bit of a shame. But, I do like this guy. There's something speaking to me about that guy. It would be far simpler and cheaper to just like scrap basically the concept of having to do another character. I'll do my own character and I'll move around the space and I'll have a flying robot chase me, which will be a lot simpler, and then I can focus on the camera, because the camera is the key. Okay, so this works in 5.6. This is set up for 5.6. Let's take a look at the female mannequin. That is only set up for 5.5. So this doesn't necessarily matter, because we are going to have a character. It's going to be the Unreal mannequin, and that's also fine. I could always switch it out later. Yeah, and then so we do have this dude. He probably is set up for 5.6. So that's called droids. He is only set up for 5.4. So he's also off the table. He's just straight up off the table. I could always open it in an old project and then port it over, but let's jump into Unreal. We're gonna do this in 5.6 regardless of what packs we have available. So let's do that. If you're interested as well, I've been doing multiplayerization of the templates from the 5.6 stuff. So I've gone through all of these. I'm going to do this one next week. These two next week. We're having a break from that. We're having a break from doing multiplayer. We're going to do a single player today, and we're going to do a games jam instead. So don't need Fab anymore. We don't need this. He is just so cool. I mean, he's also rendered in a different different yeah, let's get going with this. Righty. Engine classically taking a minute to load. Okay, so we've got all of this stuff. We've got games. We've got... I do want first person. And we do have the survival horror template that we could work from. That gives us... I think that's going to give us the lighting setup that we need. So we're going to start with that. I'll just call this game jam underscore red dot. Suppose I don't need to call it game jam, just call it jam. Or I'm basically worried about length, but no, we'll just call it game jam with a capital J. Game jam. Red dot. It's not part of templates, it's part of game jams. At which point we don't need the suffix, prefix, sorry. Game jams, yeah, cool, create. I'm going to create that. That should come up immediately with like Liminal. I mean, Nano is always enabled. Possibly got some hardware ray tracing in there. Then I'll import the assets, and then we'll just get cracking. I think I actually do need to plan out like kind of what's going to happen. Just at a very basic level, you're just going to start in a corridor. I think the first thing that needs to happen is you start in a corridor. And there's going to be a room that you need to get to, which I'm just going to put it here. This is the room that will have your desk in it. Just this lonely desk. Equidistant. A little bit of a long room, I guess. And so in this hallway, I want there to be a camera. So I'll use the circle in red as kind of the concept of like where I want these cameras. There needs to be one camera that you see kind of after your initial hallway. So the initial hallway needs to be empty. Let's use post-it notes for this. So here you're just getting used to your WAS controls, I think is the main thing. We might want to have an interaction at the beginning of the game in some way, just to teach you how that looks and how that feels when you're not stressed out in any way. And so what I might do is put this camera here, and it kind of does this this arcing view, right? Where it sort of... Oh, how do you change the pivot? Is there a pivot? Can you change the pivot? You can't change the pivot? Never mind. Okay, so yeah, well, there's a camera. It looks left and right in the hallway. Funny. And what I'm thinking is maybe there's a door here. And that's that's your first interaction, is like, gotta get in this door. It's funny that the story is go get yourself on camera. And maybe that's the point. I think the point is going to be when you get seen by the camera, things start opening up. Strawberry Jam for Red Dot Game Jam. Strawberry Jam? No. A horror game about being a streamer. So yeah, I think the hidden bit is going to be that you actually need to get spotted. So you might end up actually like seeing the big red light, being like, "Oh no," and then like avoid it. Should probably make the first corridor fairly easy. So you just walk past it. Basically, it's gonna make more sense to the player. I think that they can do that, and then a door. And I think so. We have interactions. We kind of want to do the simplest door we could do is a sliding door, but this is not a sci-fi place, so it's a regular place. I might have locked doors and keys that you have to collect, and that might be fun. I don't know, maybe not. So yeah, what I could do instead is kind of tell a bit of a story here. So this will be your clock in. Station. So you'll have something that you interact with here, and the door will unlock. I'd like to get some surrealism in where it's like that didn't exist until you interacted with the door. And so you interact with the door, and then that thing becomes visible, and then you turn around, you're like, well, that wasn't there before. So I know I'm in for some fun off the bat. Within the first minute or so of gameplay, you are experiencing something a little bit strange. So I'll put my note in here. This is the final room. We'll have a sequencer cinematic. Entering a chair and the red light on. Turns on. That'll be that. In terms of hallway gameplay, I'm just going to skip to sort of thinking about how I might want this to feel. Some could keep it real dead simple and just be like, yeah, it's like a series of cubicles. We know we've got these like glass window things as well, so like walking around these, having some of these be actual rooms would be cool. Not all of them, because that'll take forever. Let's make some square and some that are long. These are walkways, right? Let's go down. I think that'll be fine. We do something like this. Okay, and then kind of another thing I need to do is make sure that there's some the rooms going on. Whoa. Okay. think we want rooms. The idea was you go down these corridors and you're searching for a way to get to this, and obviously you're just ideally going to get immediately lost, or I won't let you find your way here, which is a good point actually. I'm gonna so this is the red corridor. This is the corridor where there's basically a absolute nutty amount of cameras leading you to your final destination, which is your desk. And so this should be after kind of running away from... I should really write the game flow down. Yeah. The game flow was theoretically like starting corridor, first camera. Door is not really important in the game, but it does set the tone that it's a workplace. I mean, it's going to be pretty obvious that it's a workplace, it's an office. First camera, hallway exploration. I want there to be some kind of interactions. So you're kind of intended to experiment and press buttons and maybe open doors and go into small rooms. Maybe some of these rooms are enterable. These spaces, maybe some of them are enterable. We'll do like yeah, we could always do some more sort of dead end stuff. This kind of orients you in a sense. You should always remember this one corridor, and you'll somewhat remember this corridor. So, whilst there's no arrows coming off of these, it's not like Miro where it puts these in for you. So I guess it's hallway exploration and interactions, because it's part of exploration. And then the idea is slowly more cameras over time as you walk down these corridors. So at first you'll walk down a corridor, there'll be no cameras in here. As soon as you sort of enter this area of the game, we'll populate a couple of cameras up here. And so if you end up looping back, you will have a little sense of uneasiness. You'll be like, have I been here before? This kind of looks like something I haven't seen yet. What I want to do for this corridor, at least, as well, is actually have it bend around. And I think that idea of a corridor that kind of has an L shape to it is a good idea. We don't have enough of that in here right now. It's one feedback to myself there. I do love the super long corridors, but all of these are super long corridors right now. So let's change it up. But that'll be a little bit more interesting at least. But this might need to move out a bit. And then we've got a door here which I want to become unlocked after some interaction, basically like a wall that essentially gets removed at some point in the game. And then probably The point is, at this point, you should be. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Slightly more cameras in the scene, and there's a what? What's that? Post-it note is not the same size. Oh god. Okay, you, cool. This. Yeah. And then the drone camera chase section of the game. Run to desk. That's the game. It's nothing crazy. It's more about atmosphere. And I'm going to explore some stuff with Lumen because I haven't done it before. Or liminal space. I haven't done a liminal space before, so I'm excited for that. Planning is key. We want to go in with our eyes open. Yeah, run to desk, and so that's when you encounter run to desk past the hallway of cameras. That's going to be kind of the stinger moment at the end there. Right, so back to the layout stuff. I kind of, during that last segment, I kind of want you to be snaking around a bunch in there. Oh, great, that's really useful. Sort of running down this corridor. Like, what is this place? Like, maybe feeling like it doesn't make too much sense. Although obviously I'm not doing anything actually liminal with non-Euclidean with this. I am just doing it in this way. Thinking about this here is like, how do I want that scene to play out? Like, how do you first see the hallway of cameras? And I guess like as you're running through here, there just are progressively more and more cameras kind of bleeding up to this moment. And so maybe that's fine. And then that final run, you've been released from the shackles of this snaking corridory hallway thing that was horrible, and then running through here to this kind of like oddly peaceful moment that marks the end of the game, and then webcam turns on. Thing that was chasing you, I want that in the background. I want it to be like kind of over here. Like just sort of comes in and it's like, yeah, we be watching. And so actually going in the camera, I feel like there could actually be not so much a puzzle, but it is kind of a puzzle, but part of me is wondering whether you're supposed to stand in those red lights, and so it's like your gamer brain and your fear brain and all these things has taught you like red is bad and evil, and if there's a camera that's literally like and it has some like awkward sound to it, like you don't want to go in the light, and so it moves around and you dodge it and you get to the door and you can't get in, and then you go back to the light and it sort of does some kind of good sound. Or would it be better to just essentially the story is a person going to work, so standing in the red light shouldn't restart you, shouldn't kill you. It should just essentially raise. I want it to raise the bar for when this drone appears. Some kind of like tracker for how many of these you've gone through. Because they'll be like unavoidable ones, essentially. And so in that sense of it being unavoidable, we should ensure that there are things that are breadcrumbing you to go through them. So I know I'm going to stick lights on like most of these hallways, but it'd be nice to get an idea of what the player's going to see or think they need to do. We're trying to lead them. We're trying to lead them to sort of the condition. I should also make a note as to when this hidden door opens. Let's put a note here. This is the hidden door. It opens when... Well, it opens after the drone appears. And after you interact with the red button that also appears. So it could also be the case that it's got maybe some inspiration from Slenderman, where you have to collect like 5 notes. But instead it's like press 5 buttons. There are these red dots that are around the environment in different places. I'm going to note down a loss condition because I think that might be important. It's like if you get caught by the drone, just have sort of a on screen that says late for work. That's kind of maybe the reason why you're dodging all the cameras. It's like, you're late for work. And you're like, shit, I don't want to be seen by the camera. It's gonna know. It's gonna know that I'm late. Which is typical, right? Because you're rushing to get, like, half the time rushing to get the stream started. Oh, I forgot 5 things. Especially in the early days of streaming. Okay, so that's cool. Yeah, so I kind of want 5 objective buttons. I'm going to have to make them a different color, obviously, because otherwise I can't really denote them versus the cameras. But yeah, it could just be fairly simple stuff. Doesn't necessarily have to be a hidden door either. It could literally be the stream room door with like the on air sign that's inactive, and you are preparing essentially the stream through getting a bunch of stuff ready. I like the idea that this is just slightly inset because it just has this weird feel to it. Crossroads here, I've realized I don't have any crossroads now. I've accidentally got rid of crossroads in the area, so I'm going to reintroduce some crossroads because I think crossroads are important. Kind of interesting space. Will be potentially fun to run around. We might want some additional like offshoots. We may, I don't know. We may want something that like just alters the shape a bit because it could get really obvious what's going on. Another thing I could do is just actually generate the level and change it on runtime, but I'm not going to do that. We'll do that another time. Another game. Okay. So I've got some kind of idea going on. The win condition is reaching the ring, which requires pressing all the buttons. I don't know what these buttons do, but they are red buttons, and it sucks that I'm using this as my camera. Maybe I'll change the color of the camera to orange, and I'll change this to red. It's the red button. Get rid of this guy. I mean, this is just like a dead end. But I might introduce like a fog that you can't see past a certain distance, or like a darkening of the scene. So these are all gonna be rooms, and I may end up like, you know, stretching this layout significantly in order to support the fact that they are rooms. And I think, it's not too obvious that every room has a button in it. Looking back at the artwork, I'm gonna pop it. I don't have the link anymore. Yeah, it's like you're walking around, you press a button, a bunch of cameras appear in the hallways. That's going to be simple enough because I know exactly where you're looking, and I can make sure that you're not going to see the pop-in. And so you go back out into the hallway and it's like, oh, a bunch of cameras have appeared. And then you're just dodging them. And then that unsettling moment that at like 3 of these pressed, there's now a thing moving around the hallways, right? So 6 buttons. I don't know where they're going to be in the room, but they're in the room, so I'll just they're just there for the sake of appearing like a button. Okay, so oh yeah, I never did do that stream. Okay, let me just check up on emails and such. Just make sure I'm not missing any meetings. I don't want to do that. You have no mail. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, we're going to press these buttons. We're going to have some logic in here as to when. Slowly more cameras over time. So that's like after pressing the button. Drone chase section of the game starts after 3 buttons. So once you're significantly unsettled moving around this space, we've got to choose where the doors are to make it not simple. And so I feel like this door is just like awkwardly here. I feel like that's a good door. I might end up messing with the player. I think is going to make it easier in the sense that, like, rather than just walking down this corridor and then finding this door, it's like sometimes the door's here, sometimes the door's here, sometimes the door's here, and if you go a certain distance away from this, the door moves. So you go back and you're just like, there was a door here. Why is the door not here? That just sounds fun to me. So possibly messing with that, because it's actually quite difficult, I'm finding, to be like, there are doors and... Why can't I rotate this now? Is zoomed in? Okay. There are doors and they're always in the same place, and it's just kind of boring. It's difficult to make sure that you're not going to see all the doors at the same time. Although maybe there are some cases where that's okay. But yeah, probably gonna mess with the doors. Probably gonna do that. For example, in this hallway, if you go in this door and do this room and then come back out of this doorway, you're going to go left, right, or forward. At which point you're going to immediately find a door in any of those directions, which means you're going to get the second element, which button. So it might just mean like extending the hallways to make it feel like it's more of a trek, instead of sort of like immediately just being like, oh, look at that, another door. And the reason that's not super unsettling, and I might write this down, is doors in close proximity suggest that or they give a feeling, in my head at least, of sort of community or sort of like safety in that regard. If the hallways were longer and doors further apart, it feels like disconnected. Settling. So I think that is going to be an important key of the level design. And for now, I'm going to go and have a quick break while I just let that ruminate. Because we are going Games Jam mode, and that means get water, touch grass occasionally. So yeah, I don't think sitting for 6 hours straight is going to do me any good. So I will be back in about 15 minutes. Although I also realised it would be nice if you guys could see this. So how would I do that? I could maybe copy this and paste it in here and just bring it down to the corner. That would be cool. Sure. We'll make a checklist when we get back as well. Yeah, I'll write that down. Cool. All right, be right back. I have returned. I have returned. And I will turn on my camera. Let's sort out the checklist, because proper planning prevents poor performance. Okay, so I have a checklist here. Just got a message immediately. Okay, so it's just basically a checklist. What have we got? Let's turn all let's turn all this off in terms of the effects. Cool. So we've got character, footsteps, etc. You know, head bob, the deal. We've got the camera with the red light. We've got a wandering drone, or a wandering chase drone. We've got an interactive button that will trigger something at some point. And we've got the entire environment to create. And towards the end, we've got the Niagara camera wall that we're going to make. And got sort of got some win-loss. Oh, we'll sort the loss out when we've got the drone, right? Because the drone will reach you and you'll get the loss. So we've also got sort of the end scene sequencer. Part of me kind of, depending on how quickly things go, part of me wants to enable Dungeon Architect and make this space different every time you play. I just don't see that being important for a games jam. I think if I was to turn it into a game, I would definitely do that. And more than likely what I would do is change it as you play. So you go through this space and you're just like, well, I got a button, where's the door? Well, the door was down that corridor. You go down the corridor and then you're like, no, the door's not there now. Should get rid of this BRB thing, because I am back. Alright. So, is there anything else that we need to do? I mean, we're going to add sounds along the way. Character, camera. Got the chase drone. We've got the interactive button. Opens the door. Then we're going to build the environment and the end scene sequencer. Yeah, so I guess like cook. Cook test. So that's our checklist there. Let's save that out. And let's populate that. Got our checklist. Okay. Some people like to see the keyboard. I can't remember what application I used to show the keyboard. But we're not going to do that today. We're actually just not going to do that. 2 seconds. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get into Unreal and start building a little game. Okay. So we have Unreal. First thing we're going to do, I guess the first thing we're going to do is hit play. Because it has been an hour and a half and we haven't done that. So cool. We're actually first person. We already have a character. Um, I this does immediately make me want to go and actually get a character and get a walk animation in, so that we're a little bit more, because we're running right now and that's not great. So on our first item for character, let's go and actually find a character that we're excited for. So we don't want all, we just want characters, creatures, lowercase, and characters and creatures uppercase, because the new tagging system in Fab is a little bit messy, and it's like, yeah, essentially when we look down, we want to see an actual character. So I'm not seeing. See, there's this guy here. So he goes to 5.4. Let's pop that open. Oh, great, does it in Edge. The reason I like this is because it's got a suit. You're never going to see the guy's face. But the fact is, he has a suit. And I think when you look down and you see an office suit, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to work. So we're going to try that one, but we're going to have to add it to another project before we can import it into the project that we're working on. So I'll throw that into a project quickly. And we're also going to need some footstep sounds. So I'll just type in footstep. Bring both of those in. Okay, so content, footstep sounds, and special agent. Okay. In our content browser, we now have variant horror. Let's make a new folder, which is going to be red dot. So this is where we'll put everything of ours. I've got special agent. Got a mesh. That's cool. He doesn't actually have a head there. So the head is actually separate, so that's cool. Suit. Yeah, I like that. Let's go and open our third person character. First person character. What am I saying? First person character. Bomb. And the suit. Don't know if this will work off the bat. Clearly not. I guess the problem is, oops, let's just Control Z that twice. I mean, what is the what's the problem? First person mesh, third person mesh. The fact that this doesn't have a head means we're not going to have a shadow. I appear to be missing a head. And also, my camera is a little far down. Wonder if I can edit that. doesn't have hands. Doesn't have hands? It's not cool. That's cool. Okay. But I don't know if this is the material I want for my suit. But that's... It's a nice suit, sir. What you got there? Feel like to make this a little bit more FOV would feel kind of cool. So let's actually also change our movement speed. We're moving a little bit fast here. Yeah, so this is nice. We've got this, and then we can use Shift key to have a little bit of sprinting in the game. Okay. That's cool. Let's bring this back over. Okay, so to get our extra meshes, let's just pop in this one. Well, we'll have head. Head is going to attach to mesh. It will attach, assumedly... I don't actually know. Let's just type head. Head A. Why is the... Oh, the camera's attached to the head? Oh god. So if I hit play... Well, this is already horrifying, so... the eyes. That head needs to be owner no see. Owner no see. But also I can't actually see the head because the bloody camera's in the way. And I just... Oh wow, his arms are like so broken. Huh. I'm going to kill the head. And I'm going to use the main mesh here and just call this head. And set that to head. Move it forward a smidge. I think I've seen this before. I think you have to close it and reopen it. Because, yeah. Because it just doesn't load the first time. Cool. Alright, so this just goes back here. No? Not happy with that? Mesh. Mesh. Head. One of the things we can do is we can share, or it's like pose component, set leader pose. So what this will do is it will set the head to just use sort of like in a more optimized fashion the other thing. So if I get rid of the animation blueprint there, you'll notice his head is actually moving along with that. The mesh has actually moved back, but it's not telling us that it's moved back. So I am going to move it back myself. Now when I hit play, I spawn underground. And I think the reason is that this collision just needs to be no collision. . 'Cause, yeah, 'cause it just doesn't load the first time. Cool. Alright, so this is already horrifying, so... Okay, so I've messed something up. Really messed something up. Let's cut the head out. Okay, let's control Z. What have we done? We're done wrong. Okay, we're back. We're back to having a character. Let's create a child blueprint class. First person character suit. We'll put that in our what do we call it? Red dot, right? So we'll put that in there. We'll edit this one. So we'll add the head. It'll be attached to the mesh. We will zero out some of this stuff here. We will set the leader pose to the mesh. Make sure that that head doesn't have an animation and it does actually have a head mesh. Of course, I know it already did because I could see it. So that's in there. That's cool. We've got our main third person mesh. We'll set this to suit gent A. We want to change the material. We'll just play with these. That looks like a party suit. That kind of looks like a work suit. The brown one. The grey one. I like this. I actually kind of like that. It's got this like off green ugliness to it. We also want arms of some kind. Hands, I guess it will be. So we may need to close this and reopen it in order to see those hands. And again, in the construction script, our hands, so this is actually hands. This also needs to do that. Oh, right. Mesh, head. Cool. Now viewport, now we've got these hands. What are the other hands? We've got different skin tones. That's cool. Stick with the first ones. It's hands B. It'd be nice if we could see that update in the viewport, but right, well, we'll stick with that. And for our first person mesh as well, we also want suit A, and we also want that ugly green, and we also want some hands. So this will be hands FP. These are own and no C, so that's good. Cool. Hands FP. That's not working, so we'll copy first person mesh. We'll do first person hands. This will be hands. We'll go with hands B because I don't know what the difference is. And then in our construction script, we'll do a leader pose component for the first person mesh. That's cool. Let's stick, compile, save on success. Got viewport here, save that out. Okay, cool. Another thing that we did was change this move speed to 300. That was retained. So that's good. In our world settings, let's make a new game mode. We'll copy that over here. be GM first person red dot. Just gonna, I guess we will save our save current level as red dot. Level red dot test or GM or whatever you want to call it. We'll change this to the red dot game mode. And we'll change our red dot game mode's character to the suit guy. And hit play. Look down. Cool. So I need to move the camera just a little. I think when I did it last time, I went up and back. So yeah, that's cool. You get to look down on my chest. We're not going to have a jump. We may have a sprint. Yeah, those hands are kind of weird. That's okay. It's good enough. And, you know, we do have a guy back here. He doesn't have any hair, but that's okay. There's something going on in certain circumstances. When I'm looking down, I think it's like something to do. Oh yeah, 110. That might feel good. It's good enough. I'm not gonna get too stressed about it. Okay, cool. So let's get the footstep sounds in. In order to do that, we just look at the meshes animation. We're unarmed, and we're always going to be unarmed. Let's take a look at the anim graph, locomotion, walk, run. We've got an idle blend space here. When we are walking, we've got an animation. So let's take a look at the animation. We've got Lyra. Well, we've got foot plant. We've got Lyra context effects. So tap. Yeah, okay, so Lyra context effects. We're going to just bolt onto that. Event graph, event Lyra, and in context effects. This is where we'll play our sound. And so we will ideally have a character, so that's cool. We will get the floor, get the movement component, and we'll get the floor, character movement, floor, get current floor. The reason I'm getting this is because it has a variable for the hit result, which we can break. And from here, we can get the fizz map. And the reason the fizz map is important is because that's what the footstep sound is going to be based on. It's going to sound different if we're walking on carpet, for example. Close to function, play footstep sound. Let's do a couple of things because I'm looking at this graph and there's like very little organization here. So editor preferences. Let's go grid. Here we have color that we want for our grid. So we just pick a nice. The jam's called red dot, so we'll go in red. Go in red for this. We've got break on blueprint exceptions. We'll turn that on. So this will immediately, as soon as there's an error in our blueprints while we're playing, it will stop and pause and throw us to the error. And then we've got one more that I like to do, which is startup level. So in the event that we crash, we're going to open up the last load level at startup is last opened. So those are three little things I always do. So we've got our footstep sound, we're looking at our fizz mat here. Now it's a choice about where to store the footstep sounds themselves, because we're going to have a key map of a fizz mat to our footstep sound. Let's go and actually look at our footstep sound. So we've got these sounds here, got this cool reverb effect, that's cool. I wonder if that actually works. Is that referenced? It's referenced in this example map, so we might go and steal whatever this is to get that reverb, because that would be cool. Oh, we've got footsteps here. I bet this is a... well, it's not horrible. This is just switching. So it's just going to load all the sounds, though. And that doesn't necessarily make sense. For me. I guess in some games it makes sense, because you're like, I don't want this sound to have to load. So I'm just going to load the library of sounds. It makes me wonder, what's the size map on this? It's actually quite minimal, assuming that that is correct. Okay, so let's go find... Let's just implement this exactly how it is implemented. Let's go find the reference viewer for this. We've got this character that we'll edit. Create footsteps widget. What's this? Mail to a rattle. Cool. Don't need the rattle. Walk speed stuff. Let's just find results for play sound. Material. When references for volume. Yeah, there's a footstep sound right here. Find by name. There's a tooltip there. Activate footsteps. Okay. So we'll have to find this in another way. In the footsteps and in BP. So they get the footsteps thing, they set the boolean and the rattle and the volume. Based on the speed. That's cool. Let's nick let's nick all of this. Jumpstart, footstep, yeah, cool. So let's just steal this whole thing and go to our first person or our animation blueprint here. Just paste this in. So it's got a footstep sound here. I don't usually like that because it essentially cuts the last sound. I like to request a play sound at a location so it creates a sound that then dies off. But it might be the case that these sounds are not curated in a way that that sound would actually die off. So what we should do is copy this sound onto our first person character. Yeah, we'll just leave it there. So it doesn't have any play multiple instances. Yes. And we'll go back to our unarmed character and we'll just start sorting out this logic. So got our character. We can cast this to our suit guy. We can get our footsteps. Promote this to a local variable. Actually, we'll just promote this footstep component. I'm just going to cache this once because I don't want to have to cache this every single time that happens, or I don't want to have to cast it every single time. So when it initializes the animation, and this isn't on tick, this is just the initialization, we're going to get that character that we've promoted to a variable here, and we will promote our footsteps component so that we can just have that for us when we do this portion. So as long as this is valid, we will play it, which I find strange that we're playing it before we've set anything up. Then we've got footsteps play as a variable. This is always true. Does this ever change? It's only a getter, so it's an always true variable. So we just set this to true. That there. Don't need that. Rattle play. That's always false. In fact, I wonder, am I able to set this on here? No. That's okay. So I'm actually going to do this. I'm gonna do both of these on initialization because I know I'm never gonna play rattles. In fact, if we go listen to those rattles, this is the rattle here. That's like full-on equipment, and it sounds horrible too. So we'll take that and we'll put that on our initialization. Let's convert all of this to a function, collapse to function, init footsteps. In that function and aligned to our grid, we get the footstep component and we set up these two variables. That's fine. Don't need that. We may need to play it over and over again, though it seems a bit strange that we would do that every single time. Now let's get rid of this. We're rattling, we get the speed. This is kind of cool. I kind of like this speed thing. It's like we're either walking or we're sprinting, so it'll be quieter or louder. I kind of like that. So we'll take that. Put that in here. So once this is done, that should mostly wrap up our core character portion. We might do some head bob. It might be nice to get some sort of just light head bobbing going whilst we're walking. We also probably want to get sprint in, because if you have a character chasing you, you're going to press that shift key and you're going to want to sprint. As a player, I respect that. We don't care about rattle volume because we're not going to play rattles. Here we have this surface array, so we'll just promote that to a variable and go and steal that. So ABP footsteps. Okay, can't do that. Gotta find his animation blueprint again. Okay, so he's got this. I'm just gonna copy it. All the different Fizzmats plus none. Yeah, what I don't like about this, in a way, is he's turning a array into an int, which isn't exactly easy to control. Like, if I change this array, I have to go change the sound, rather than it being a map of some kind. So, not a major fan of how that's done. This Fizzmat here as well, I don't need to do a cast every time I do a footstep, because, like we saw earlier, a character's movement component has a floor, and it has a Fizzmat. The only time you'd want to do it by trace is if you really want your left and right foot to have different sounds depending on which surface each foot is on. And for me, that's just a little bit too much. I'm just going to go with this. Is male. Being a man changes the sound. Okay, you know what? We'll put that in our init, I suppose. What does being a man have to do with the sound of my feet? I want to know. What does being a man matter? Maybe it's like concrete. Oh, it's like heels. Yeah, fair. Funny. Surface. I don't know why we're promoting the display name of our surface to a variable, so it doesn't seem important. Now we're just going to delete this. And so we could have written that from scratch in a different way, but we're good. We're good. That'll do us for that, which means now when we walk, we should get a sound. It does not have a footsteps component though. Our suited footstep character does not have a footsteps component. It's right there. Footsteps character, ABP unarmed. Wow. You never hit this blueprint, sir? Did I not init the footsteps? I thought I did. Okay. Step. Footsteps? Unknown. You gotta be kidding me. It's literally there. It's an audio component. I can see it. I'm not tripping. I'm not tripping out. It's right there. I'm not crazy. 1, 2. Footsteps component. Unknown. What? Okay. Suit. Hey, suit dude. Maybe it's that play multiple instances problem. Wow, access none. That is so strange. Let's just put a delay in and see if that solves any problems there. Definitely did something. And Here we're just going to hit play. We're not actually getting a Lyra context effect at all. Or maybe we were. I don't know, I just had the wrong debug thing. Okay, so we step in. Say play. The volume is 0.6. Sound is... Oh, right, yeah. Okay, so back in our character, we need to return floor. I think it's in our capsule. Or maybe it's like material. Return material on move. So we need to do that on the right thing. I think it's this one. Or maybe it's the character movement. Floor. Yeah, okay, maybe it's just this capsule. So return material on move, and then in our ABP, let's just put an F9 on there. So we're still not getting a floor here. Oh. We can recheck that in a moment, but essentially this actually needs a fizz map. Otherwise it's not going to return anything. So let's just stick concrete on there, and we'll stick carpet on the outside here. I'm not hearing anything. I'm not hearing anything. Blueprint. It's my name. Probably going to give me a blueprint exception now. Concrete. Carpet. Right, yes. So for the defaults, we needed to put those defaults in. I did it in the wrong place. Footstep, anim, BP, surface, copy, paste. We know this is actually returning, so that's good. Okay, so one thing I'm interested in, after all that, is that there was like an echo reverb setup of some kind on this map here. So there's a reverb all the way over there. I want to know. Play from camera. Current camera location. That didn't. Red dot character. Layer. To possess 0. Sort of blueprints in this level. Footsteps character, I'm just going to get rid of him. No, I can't move. Are you kidding me? Can't move. Why can't I move? Why are you not allowing me? Privilege. Okay, well, anyway, it says there's a reverb zone. It's right here. I'm going to steal it. What's this other one? A light mass importance volume. That is an old thing, in my opinion. Okay, cool. Well, I'm just going to take that audio volume. There's another audio volume somewhere. Reverb zone. Let's take it. Control P, red dot, level. Paste that in. Reset its transform to 0 so we actually have it. Just shrink that down. Put it over here. We'll do another fizz mat on here. We'll do ground. We'll make what could only be described as a ceiling. Only be described as that. Cool. Then we'll go walk down there. We don't get any footsteps if I go forward and right at the same time. I'm just mega quiet. Do my feet like never touch the floor or something? That looks completely normal. Don't worry about it. Reverb also didn't seem to do anything really. Yeah, so we're getting some glitchy stuff going on. I'm just going to fix that now. This camera is attached to the first person character. No. Oh, I can't edit that? Oh, it's just part of the first person character. Let's just move it. Capsule. Thank you. That wasn't good. Oh. Right. There's something going in my bloody face though, which I guess is my hands. Oh, right, yes. That would be a problem. We may need to adjust the camera now. Let's just put it there. The character's feet aren't actually touching the floor either. Like, I know it looks like they are, but like, they are not in the same place. Okay, well, moving on. This can't win them all. Yeah, one thing about this now is, yeah, he's not moving with the head, and that is good in some ways, but when we turn like left or right, because of some sort of something about going up and down ledges, like makes the first person mesh do some really horrible things. So what I might do is add spring arm with 0 on here, this on here, with the spring arm on the head. No camera collisions. Camera should not be offset. And then we can play with that in here. What? We rotated. Pretty sure it's not rotated in the default, is it? Oh, it is. Oh, that's not good. Do that. The idea of using this spring arm is that it allows us to add a little bit of lag, which may help with that at all. This is always gonna clip. It does allow us to add a little bit of lag, and the point was going to be that, like, in those extreme moments when we're going down a hill and something's happening with the first person character, that we smooth out those jarring movements that sort of just throw us left and right. But that's not going to work, because we'd need it to work in a way that kind of requires only left and right. Where is my camera? Why is it up there? This camera is right here. Your camera is way up there. Right, first person character here. Okay, so we have a camera. I'm just going to lift it up. The good thing is we're not going to have any up and down in our actual game. We're going to be on flat corridors the whole time. So what I'm going to do is remove everything that is an angle, because we don't actually need to solve for it, and I'm just wasting time. What's going on here? Yeah, what I want to know is why not really a reverb happening here. They're like a reverb setting that I need to set. Something in the project settings, or maybe this is such an old piece of tech that doesn't work now. What? No, don't undo it. Bring it back. What one was it? Gonna go with that one, maybe. Maybe there's a guide for this asset, because if I can get that reverb going, that would be awesome. Fab.com, my library. We got this. Nothing on that list about reverb. Nothing in the entire document about reverb. He has headings that only exist once in the blade document. 3.4.1. Identifiers that also mean nothing. So I barely read the bloody image. Allow spatialization. My sound attenuation. Okay. I mean, I copied it from their own. Allow spatialization. Attenuation settings. Positive sound attenuation. Maybe this is what uses the reverb. Yep. Enable reverb sends. Cool. Okay, it might have just been that. Guy has a limp. Okay, so because this guy has a limp, I'm gonna go and edit his walk, because that's not gonna fly. I'm gonna go to my suit guy. I'm gonna go to my construction script. I'm gonna take the first person mesh. Both of these are gonna lead repose off of the main one as well. It might be better to do this based off distance. Yeah, I move my camera forward a bit. Maybe the speed of my walking is just a little bit too fast, and so maybe we should be 200. Maybe that's the issue here. No, there's that second footstep. Let's look at our blend space. Because it's something to do with, so 0 to 1 here, ground speed. I would like to find references. So it's divided by running speed. Yeah, in the God, the walk is actually kind of fast. It does loop nicely though. But if you're slightly slower than it, I guess. Okay, so the percentage is 0.375. And it's of 600, I believe, running speed, yeah. So what is 600 multiplied by 0.375? 225. If theory says if I set this to 225, it's not going to have that double step sound. Does not work. This is why I sometimes do this just based off distance. Multiple instances, try that. Maybe it's just clipping. Bum bum bum. Bum bum bum. Okay. I'm kind of annoyed now because it would have been nice to just use the animation, but it's not sounding great at all. It's just, it's in a game that is meant to invoke a sense of unease when your feet are going da-dun, da-dun, da-dun. Why not actually be the feet, now I think about it? It may just be the sound. So, if you look on the left, you can see where the sound starts, right? If I just use one sound the whole time, does it still do it? It does. So the next thing to check is the animation itself. So we're looking at the walk forward animation. So we've got 44, 32. That's 12 units apart. 32, 19 and a half is almost 12 units apart. 19 and a half and 7 again is almost 12 units apart. Let's see if we can just make this in exact numbers. So 8, 20, that is 12 units. 32, 44. See how that feels. The other strange thing, I would say, is that I am now playing one, unless it's carpet that I'm stood on right now. I stood on here. Here's my ground, course, ground. Okay, again, if it's just one sound. Oh, it could be the distance between here, 44 frames, we get 1 frame, and then we get 9 frames. That's not 12 frames. So 44 divided by 4. So we're just looking at the 11th frame each time. Yeah, we can't do it on the 11th frame because that wouldn't work. So we're here. Oh, crunch. We go to the 40th frame. Okay, so 45. That gives us 6 on the other end. Which is a little bit late, but it's probably going to sound better. And so from there we just go to 17. This is just messing this whole thing up, but it bothers me greatly. 17, 18, or 17, 28 I should say. And then that isn't quite 1. Did I say 44 divided by 11? I meant 45 divided by 11. What am I talking about? 45. Yeah. Sorry, what am I about? 45 divided by 4. 11.25. Nice. So what we could do is completely ignore this entire thing and just do it based on distance. I've seen that in a few blueprints before. Let's turn this to the ground type that we're probably going to use more frequently, which I think is going to be concrete. That's such a fast stride walk, but also doesn't move very far at all. And then doesn't make any sound when he strafes. Bothers me so much. Again, another reason to just do this based off distance. So sadly, all of that code that we wrote here can just be turned off. We don't need that now. We do need the init footsteps because that's going to be important. Let's go to our red dot. Go Blueprint. Can I make my own audio component in Blueprint? No, but you probably can in C++. Anyway, so this is awkward, but let's just daisy chain some components together. Actor component, bp underscore footstep component. We will create a function, init sound. We will get owner, cast that to a character that we will then promote this to a variable, and let us then have event tick. Region. Footstep. Or I could say distance. Distance to last footstep location is more than or equal to, let's just say like 200 as a threshold. Footstep threshold. And if it is more than that, then we set the last footstep location. So we know where that was. And then we do the logic from a footstep. We will need an array, the array that I'm not a fan of. That in here. That, all those, paste that. Init sound, character suit, we will promote you. Yeah, and in here for the footstep threshold, we'll do walk and sprint. Footstep. This will be input character, so that would be handy. Okay. This bit of validation here. Okay. Does tick, does have sounds. Double check the default variables in here. Graph here, yeah, so we never actually call this, so do that. threshold needs to come right down. Guessing means this needs to come down as well. Oops. Yeah. Hey, how fast that walk is. It really bothers me. It's just like the speed walk. Can do in this one's case is just lower the play rate to like 0.5. A little bit too slow. You can do something like that. Basically lines up, which is nice. And now when we move diagonally, we still get some sounds, even though the feet are messing up. Yeah, not a great blend space there. I guess we just don't have anything for strafing. So we end up in this position. Yeah, interesting. And we've got animations for when we're just like barely moving to the right. Like we just have a little bit of a floaty shuffle. Oh, it's trying to give it a bleed. But there is no walk left and right either. This animation pack, it's kind of sucky. I might. What time are we on? 2.5 hours. Oh my god, it's lunchtime already. Bloody character. I might go and find a locomotion pack and implement it because I hate the template animation pack is dire. Locomotion. Yeah, of course that's not working. I do it working at lunch because we are a quarter of the way in and we haven't got our character done yet. Don't ask me to sign in again. Mobility basic, do you have... Please read the motion list 27B basic. Forward, back, left, right, walk. Back, left, back, right. Front, left, front, right. Cool. Okay, it has all the walks. Does it have jog in order? It does. Okay, cool. We're importing that one. And then we're just going to replace the anim set because we'll just make a new animation blueprint from scratch as well. Okay, so I put it into another project. I come here, I click on mesh, I go to this guy, I right click him, I create blueprint, it's just ABP underscore red dot. It doesn't have a head. Put that in here. Okay. Then we're going to have a Plate. Machine. Motion. Inside locomotion, we're going to have plate, idle, and state. Move it. In here. Moving. Is good. In here we will have lies, animation, one owner. Boot is moving. Yeah, so it's just moving, and then also promote this to a variable called speed. In our idle, just take evaluate or play third person idle. So let's play that. That seemed fine. Yeah. And then in here, I need to double check whether the mobility UE4 skeleton, so I don't think it's going to work. If I take a stand like this and then go here, replace skeleton with so many Mani skeletons. Can I just play it relaxed? Skeleton for this is SK mannequin in engine mannequins. Skeleton for this is the mobility character. Forgotten what I want. Game characters, mannequins, meshes. Not horrifying at all. That would be perfect for a creature chasing us down a hallway, though. I do have to say. Got it. Does ALS work? Alright, cool. Yeah, so I've looked back at the chat after being pissed off with a bunch of stuff. Game Jam is a bunch of cameras looking at you in a liminal space while you're on your way to work for your streaming job. The ALS is an advanced locomotion system that you can import as a project. I don't want to start from that because it's too complex for what I need. I just need a guy to walk around because it's a liminal space game with some footsteps. I tried to do it with the template that Unreal provides, but it's like just not great. What I'm going to do is delete that animation, although that is pretty funny. And I'm going to retarget this. Special agent. Nope. Sounds like the UK. The music? Confused what sounds like the UK. For this one, we're going to use a blend space. Target those animations again. Do Don't think we need the crouch walk. I don't think we're gonna be crouching in this game. There's not going to be a hiding mechanic. You're going to get chased, and that's kind of it. Back PD. Don't know. Forward, left, forward, right, left. There. CIR loop. Not that many animations in walk. Walk right. EIR. I don't know what that means. Walk right 90. Oh, that's a 90-degree turn. We just want the loops. We don't want those. Okay, forward loop. Okay, right, left, forward, right, forward, left. I don't know what BKPD. It sounds like backpedal, but we'll find out. And there's no other ones, so we'll just take that, do mob 1. Do last exports be jog underscore APC or jog loop back loop, back left, back right, forward, forward left, forward right, left, right. Many of those. Cancel. Stop it. spent a couple of hours now on just setting up my character because I do want him to feel and sound right, as it is your grounding thing in this game. It's going to have white walls and otherwise be fairly tame. So kind of the idea is every single piece of it should just scream quality. Just absolutely bellowing the word quality at all times, in all facets. We'll see. Okay. So creating our own animation blueprint here, we have move speed, blend space, and then has two nuns. We're going to go in. Yeah, we've got move. Yeah, that's not going to work. We need move. How am I going to do this? Design around not having a character. No, I'm going to make the game that I set out to do, which is a blank hallway walking game. Put him on a scooter. Yeah, it doesn't have the same vibe. Doesn't have the same vibe. Nah, it's gonna have the footsteps. Let's make. Can I make an anim blend space from here? No. Find the skeleton. Right click. Create a blend space. BS walk. BS jog. Bullshit jog. Bullshit walk. Let's move those to our animation folder. Segue. Yeah, man. Just zooming down the corridors. Screw you, monster. You can't get me. Okay, so we've got to set our axes. So we're gonna go forward and right. Should have. It's funny actually. We don't even need our idle because. Oh well, you know what? We could just crash. That could also happen. I should put crash count on my list of notes. Open Unreal. What did I call it? It's been a few hours since I wrote this thing. Okay, here it is. Yeah, thanks Unreal. Yay. Yeah, I made a little Figma here where I planned out what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna have the main thing is this hallway of corridors that I wanted to make. So hallway of corridors. This corridor of hallways. This camera hallway or whatever. So it's gonna be a bunch of Niagara cameras that just stare at you with all these red dots on them. The theme of the jam is red dot. And so as you walk down this corridor at the end of the game and you go to your liminal space desk in your room, it's got just like, you know, it's my computer setup, right? Sure, let's restore everything. I don't think that's gonna work. I think I've probably lost a lot of progress. Yeah, and so to get there, you just have like your typical like hallway walking game, and you go into these rooms, and there'll be a random number of buttons that you have to press that correspond to 3 lights above this door, and then you go through this door. At some point, I think after the first or second button that you, or probably after the first button that you press, This guy's going to start chasing you around the corridors, but I'll relight him so he's more clinical and sort of fits within this environment, and probably has some sort of signage on him that says like "Get to work." The game's called Late for Work, and so he just chases you around the hallways until you get all of the items. And I'm thinking if you enter a room, he can't follow you into the room. So it's essentially you can go into a room and be safe. I had another idea that was to move these doors around every time you go into a room. The other doors in the other rooms would change because you can't see them while you're in the room. So you'll be walking around this space being like, I swear there was a bloody door here. Um, I in a real game I would mess even more with the space and I would have it change all the time. But for now, this is fine. This will get us where we want to be. Um, yeah. Oh look, I did that part. Okay, so we're back in Unreal. Let's jump into our red dot folder, animations. We've got our blend space for our jog. And we have forward and right, which is correct. And we have an idle. I would love to drag that idle into this graph. Awesome. The preview is not helping. So we'll go with this preview instead. And then we'll use our jogs. And so this bit's pretty simple. It's just forward, left, back, and right. Although I've realized I need to change my axes values. Is it third person? No, it's first person. So this is your dude. Just going to his office job. Obviously there'll be like lumen, like hallways with lights that are flickering and stuff. But yeah, pretty simple. Just a little dude, just going to go do his job. Although I've noticed his hands are offset quite significantly. Huh. Interesting. I wonder why that is. No idea. Look at it later. Need to change the axes on this. So we're going to go -1 to 1. Think we're going to go -1 to 1. And then we just have the 4 directions. So backwards, back left, back right, forward, forward left, forward right, left, right, and idle. This is just when you're running down the corridor. Everyone run. Cool. And then we do the same for our walk cycle. So, in fact, what I could do is just delete this, save myself a little bit of time, duplicate this, and just call it BS walk. I do want to see the body, yeah. I want to see the body. I want you to. Oh, the first thing you're going to do when you start in this game is you're going to look down. You're just going to be like, "What's around? Oh, cool, a body." And so I think that's just something I want to do. I could have definitely not done it, and then I would have saved a lot of time. But I wanted to do a body, so. I want you to have a shadow. I want you to feel grounded in this liminal space. Like you look around and the only thing you see is your shadow. So there needs to be a mesh. It needs to be animated. I could get rid of the first person part. I wouldn't care about that. I don't care that you can see your hands. I care that there's a shadow on the ground. And for the amount of effort it actually takes when you do this from scratch to put a bloody blend space in, which I'm doing now in about 10 minutes, is minimal. Like it doesn't bother me in a games jam to do this part here. It's just like make a game without a character, I suppose. But I'm making a game with a character. And that's okay. It'll take a little bit longer, but it'll be worth it. Back left. Right. Forward, back, left, forward. Cool. Much better than the one provided by the template that was supposed to save me some time. So we go back to our animation blueprint. We have another Boolean for is running. It's be jogging, but whatever. Move speed actually doesn't matter. It's just going to be forward and right. So we take our BS walk and we take our BS jog. We have our forward and right variables plugged into these. And then we have a blend by bool that will be if you are running. That just plugs in there. And so that's we actually just we don't even need a locomotion state. Well, actually, for 2 seconds we do, because I need to still be able to cut this. We actually don't need a locomotion state because our state machine is so simple; it's just going to plug straight in. And that's that part. For these blend spaces, there's a thing that I want to do. Let's go open them back up. There's a little variable for how fast it smooths between the movements, so I'm just going to put that to 0.2. Feel nicer. Now then, that's pretty much set. We do need to set the right variable. Turns a degree, angle, velocity, rotation. So we get a forward vector here. That's our base rotation. And then we get our velocity in here. We now have our forward variable. And if we do the same thing, but we use our actor's right vector, we have our right variable. We now go to our suit dude and change his animation to, what did I call him? Red dot, probably. Now I've got this nice animation. Why do I have an extra pair of hands? I have this pair of hands, which is my hands, and I have these first person hands. They're just... Don't know where those came from. Oh, I see. I see. I did need those first person hands. And... yeah, I don't... I think what I ended up deciding on doing is getting rid of the first person elements, in fact. And just being like, there's nothing in the first person portion of this game, and then just getting rid of these and just using the third person, I think was what I decided to do. Although it is not possible to see owner. Yeah, they've done something in the newer version where you cannot set your capability to view character. Yeah, I can't turn this on. We're off. Oh, it's because of the world space representation. Nice. Okay. Well, I guess that's why we have the first and third person. All of the meshes should copy the leader pose. These first person meshes, which everything should now use my red dot animation set. Some issues with my movement. But then, son of a bit. Son of a bit. Walk forward. Do this every time. Every time. For some reason I read horizontal as just like this, but it's not right. Okay, so back in our animation blueprint, we should be red dot. Yeah. Play with forward. Again, that's still wrong. Let's refresh this. Walk. Yes. We're jogging. One. Cool. Okay. Wait, son of a. Wait, you're a pain in the ass today. Okay, direction, the degree between velocity. Oh, negative 180 to 180. I could just multiply it by what's going on with this? I love that moving forward doesn't report 1 when I use this. Freaking useless. Okay. So instead I just use the dot product to this. It should just be 1, -1. Cool. Okay. And then we just use the dot product to the right vector. I think this calculate one, I've used it in another project. I've completely forgotten how to use that one. That's okay. All good. We're way behind schedule. Forward, left, right, back. Right. I need to move my head forward a little. Can't see my blinking hands. What's going on with that? Hands. Yeah. And I did choose hands A. Are these like hidden? Are they visible? Visible? Yes. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna A, I'm gonna delete this. B, I'm gonna clear this. And then I'm gonna grab all of this and I'm gonna say first. I'm gonna set that to whatever it could be by default, which is none. And then owner. Say that. Ah, yes, but my head I don't want to see. Owner no see. Cool. Just hidden shadow. Good enough for me. Now I just need the sprint key. So I think there was like an IMC underscore default. We'll just use that. We'll add a sprint key. Sprint, and then that will just set walk speed. I think it's going to be 600. I'm not sure yet. So when it starts, you do that, and when it's cancelled or completed, you go back to your. Whoa! I don't want to be that fast. It's clearly not doing anything. View. View. It somehow jump still works. Yeah. Okay. Okay, started, completed. Jump, stop. What is with my Unreal moment? Is it this? Is there there's a fucking sprint in there? Okay. Jump back to this. Find it. That is IMC Sprint Horror. Cool. Of course, the horror one has a sprint. It means it's overriding the one that I literally just made. Yes, force delete. Don't need that. Save. Completed. It's still not working, and I know the reason. Here we just because we actually had 2 sprints and I messed up. Okay, so now we are moving faster, so that's cool. In our in blueprint, we are moving, but we never set whether we're running, and so running is just whether this is more than, come on, thing following me now, more than 300. That's if we're running. Cool. We need to change the footstep component that we made for the running speed. Edit this. Just say if this is more than 300. Select. It is more than 300, it's the sprint one, otherwise it's that. The base walk speed here. Settlingly slow. Um, 150 maybe. Went through so many hurdles building this, so funny. Like, oh, simple, we'll just add the footsteps to the animation. And then, oh, it doesn't work when you're going diagonally. Alright, so character is done. I'm happy enough with that. One thing I might want to do is stick that camera on a spring arm so that you get this like unsettling, again, just using that word on right now. You get this like slow turn that doesn't react to your input as quickly as you would like, which essentially just makes it like hair raising, right? When you're trying to see if something's on your tail. So let's go back to the spring arm concept. None of this, none of this. Let's make sure it's up by our head, or in fact, we'll just take the exact position of the camera. Attach that camera. Go into this spring arm. Set enable rotational lag, and then that should be it. Of course, that didn't work. There is a spring arm. Camera's a little bit off. Like it's got positional lag, but not rotational lag. I think I did increase the FOV of it as well, which makes it just like, that's a bit weird. Yeah, the FOV is like, it still apply 110, right? I hate that when I sprint, I can see like the inside of my. Why am I not getting any rotational lag on this camera? Oh, I've just realized why. I'm not getting any rotational lag on this camera because this camera is attached to a character who is spinning. So I'm never going to be able to get that. Well, if I use this camera, I'm not going to be able to get that sort of awkward slowness to it. Which is probably good because it'll probably make people sick anyway. But let's just Control Z all of that. Control Z is the way to crash Unreal Engine, by the way. If you slam it enough times, you will probably encounter a crash. I wonder if I should attach it to head in order to stop it from flipping. Well, I like this. This is good. I'm going to leave it here and then save all of that. So every time I say, I wonder if, I'm just going to slap myself on the wrist and be like, no. Finally got a character with footsteps. So we want to do a whole load of other stuff today. File export as PNG. We went through so many roadblocks just doing something simple there. Lost a bit of progress along the way. Let's get our files sorted out. Import our camera, see if it actually comes with materials. I don't think it's going to. In fact, again, when I went to download it, it didn't bloody download it again. Oh, CG Trader free camera. Third time's the charm. I'm gonna that. Apparently, I'm already logged in. I'm gonna literally stare at this website now until it downloads because apparently there's like a wait time. It did come with textures. Sweet. We have multiple meshes though. This mesh. That's fine. It's not as, I guess, high res as I would. Whoa, this wasn't massive. The question here is when this is looking left and right, is it going to look good in a hallway that looks like a photo, hopefully? And I'm going to say yes. It's simple enough that you can't really argue with it. So that's cool. And then I guess if you get all three of these at the same time, then you get the start of your blueprint. So there, it's pretty cool. And we'll start making it like face us. So new folder BP. Oh, not new folder, new blueprint. New blueprint actor BP camera. Meshes, pop them in. That looks good to me. Let's get a material and I'm just red dot. So just going to make sure that I've got kind of the original cell ready, which is an emissive red dot goes on camera. I'll do a masked material. Unlit, masked. we'll do. I wonder if there's a circle. This do it. Be good enough, I think. Oh, wait. Why can't I? Ah, it's okay. Huh. They changed something about. Not actually a PNG. It's not. Are you joking? Yeah, look, it's a. Oh my god. Okay, okay. I just. Right, okay. Well, we'll just do it by UV math. Is that a good idea, or is that more expensive? I don't know. Let's just get a PNG circle. I think it's going to be cheaper. Have one PNG circle loaded. Sometimes I'll do that with like a gradient exponential with a bunch of math. Sometimes I'll do it with UV math distance to 0, 0, but it's like all of that is math for what could ostensibly be a 128 texture, and it's a lot quicker to do it that way. And then we can just add a plane in here that uses that material. What I was hoping to do was make sure that that is actually like multiply this. I can't actually remember. I mean, I'd prefer if facing the right bloody way. That's okay. Um, cam bracket socket, cool. And then I'm going to plug some timer based rotations onto these cameras. Also add a. Not really glowing the way I wanted it to. Might have to fake it. Might have to add like a line that just when it looks at you, this little smear will screen glare sort of thing shows up because Lowy. I do an empty level. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I'm gonna go get food. I'll be right back.